development leaders, and we're going to do a quadruple net value analysis of Century Square for y'all. So what is Century Square? Century Square is the first walkable mixed-use development of its kind in the Brazos County. It has a variety of amenities that draws not only visitors but residents of the county in, and tries to create a unique lifestyle that draws people in and encourages repeat visitation. Okay, well, this slide's supposed to be up next. What is a quadruple net value analysis? So some of us might know what this is, some we might be a little hazy. But anyways, it's basically a tool used to derive benefits, which we've listed some here for y'all to read through. We're going to focus on benefits in four main fields: economic, environmental, sensory, and social and cultural. So let's get introduced to the team. I'm Elliot, the team leader. We have Alec on social and cultural, Hunter on economic, Bailey on environmental, and Kyle on sensory. And here's like typical team meeting. So we'll do this brief video for y'all, and hopefully this gives y'all a feel. Hopefully this gives y'all a feel of the property.
Century Square is an exciting mixed-use destination adjacent to the Texas A&M University in College Station, Texas. Redefining the Brazos Valley, this 60-acre development creates a dynamic community center where people congregate from across the region to experience a walkable urban destination. The project features premier retail and restaurant establishments, entertainment venues, 60,000 square feet of Class A office space, 2 full-service hotels, luxury apartment homes, and a central gathering space for tenants and visitors. The first of 2 new hotel concepts from the Valencia Group in College Station, Calvary Court, is a 141-room full-service hotel located in the Century Square mixed-use destination. Guests staying at the Calvary Court will find elements and amenities reflecting the area's tried and true heritage. Calvary Court features early military design, incorporating the rich Texas A&M traditions by creating comfortable gathering spaces, both indoor and out. Guest rooms, step-out balconies, and wide corridors overlook a large courtyard, aptly named the Parade Green, which will be ideal for indoor and outdoor events. Valencia Group's second hotel, the Gorge, is a luxury hotel located in the center of Century Square. The Gorge, with 162 guest rooms, is comprised of large community lounge areas, including expansive porches and intimate settings, including a craft cocktail bar, 1 restaurant, and wine bar. Embracing the region's southern hospitality, the Gorge offers a contemporary aesthetic with art installations that are rooted in agricultural and mechanical community, while paying subtle homage to the region's railway station and the town's namesake. Every aspect of the hotel is handcrafted with authentic and regional details, providing a real sense of the spirit of College Station and the surrounding landscape. Located within Century Square mixed-use development, the apartment community, named 100 Park, provides a home for modern professionals in College Station and the surrounding area. The project includes 251 and two-bedroom luxury homes, numerous outdoor community spaces, direct access to Century Square amenities, while neighboring Texas A&M University. Featuring an ideal combination of location, state-of-the-art amenities, and upscale finishes, all within a short walking distance to signature shopping, dining, and community events, 100 Park reinforces the dynamic community destination created by Century Square. The office buildings of Century Square represents a convergence of innovation and opportunity. Century Square offers 60,000 square feet of architecturally distinctive Class A office space. It will be a true enterprise hub for companies seeking a new competitive edge. Its close proximity to Texas A&M makes it a natural choice for businesses that seek out the intellectual capital of some of the best young minds in Texas. Energy efficient and environmentally friendly, strengthened by a robust data handling and communication backbone, Century Square offers adaptable spaces for biomed, tech, and professional services. The office buildings will also host premier retail establishments and restaurants on the ground level, providing tenants with convenient access to all of the work, live, play, and stay amenities. Attracting a wealth of individuals from across the Brazos Valley, Century Square provides a vast array of experiences for its end users. Whether you are looking for a day of pampering in a tranquil spa, participating in a group exercise class, spending a night out dining and window shopping, catching Hollywood's latest blockbuster at the theater, or just simply listening to some live music in the central gathering spaces, Century Square provides something for everyone.
I'll be talking about the social cultural aspects of our QNV analysis of Century Square. First, I want to talk a little bit about safety. Century Square employs a lot of conventional security and safety tactics, like they have full-time security staff, as well as it's patrolled by Texas A&M Security, so it's technically on campus. But mixed-use projects like Century Square also make use of a lot of natural surveillance, of having eyes on the street. And basically the concept behind that is if you have a lot of people around, there's lots of witnesses, and no one's going to want to commit a crime if there's a lot of witnesses. So that provides sort of some implied security to this kind of place and makes it really feel safe. Public access and connectivity. Pedestrian bike access to the site is pretty limited by the fact that it's bounded by two very dangerous and wide streets, University Drive and College Avenue. The street at University can only be crossed safely at 2 points, here at College and up here at this access point. And there was also a missed opportunity for connectivity with its neighbor over here. As you can see, it's just a dead-end street into Century Square. So site access for anyone who's not in a car is actually somewhat problematic. More connectivity, the site is somewhat accessible from Texas A&M Bus Route 4. It's about a 5-minute walk from the two stops here, back by the Gardens Apartments. The route has 10-minute frequency on weekdays, which is pretty good. But to make the site more accessible to the bus line, I would recommend that you might ask the transit department if there could be a new stop installed perhaps along College Avenue. Since the buses at A&M are pretty well used, so that would definitely be an amenity for Century Square. Pedestrian comfort, if you walk around in the interior of Century Square, it just checks all the boxes of good new urbanist design, low car speeds, wide sidewalks, attractive landscaping, shade, on-street parking, utilities are hidden, and there's a lot of sort of shared street space, so it's not, you're not feeling, constantly attacked by vehicles. Around the perimeter of the project, though, it's sort of a different story. This is not a good street design. The sidewalk is wide, but it's really close to this basically highway. And my question was, who is supposed to sit on this bench exactly? So I would recommend moving the sidewalk back from the street. It seems like a small thing, but if you're trying to do a mixed-use development, these kind of details matter. Just some residential proximity. The Gardens, which is an Amazon-owned complex, is about 2,000 people. Park has 250 residents. North Point has about 1,800 beds, so there's about 4,300 residents within a 5 to 10 minute walk of this project. Health project is centered around a small public square, and the fact that there's all these mix of uses sort of encourages walking and reduces automobility, or automobile dependence, which is definitely a helpful thing. And finally, some public visitation involvement in the street public square. It's the focal point of the project and really differentiates it from other projects. High-end retail areas and activation of the space programming is going to be pretty key to attracting people to the space and for the long-term value of the site. The space right now is used just pretty casually since the project's just opening, but they're starting to sort of do a lot of formal programming now with concerts and yoga and stuff like that. I'm just going to take
thanks,
some
Alec.
time.
Okay, so I did economic, and due to the fact that Century Square is only 75% complete, and many of these businesses have been open for less than a year, the economic value is kind of hard to come to, but what we did determine was why Midway chose College Station. So they conducted some market research. The first population, they came to determine that the population is 202,000 and student population is 63. This population is growing every year, and thanks to programs such as 25 by 25. They determined that A&M brings in 1.6 million people per year during tourism, and George Bush Library adds 150,000 a year. Household income levels for permanent College Station residents was a little under 90, and the parents of the students was a little over 95,000. They chose where they did on University due to the high traffic count of 67,000, which is high for a population of such. One way that College Station benefits from this economically is the increase in taxable property values. Shown here is the before and after the property values of each of these places. Along with Century Square increasing in property value, adjacent properties such as Culpeper, IHOP, Softies, and Harry's also increase their property values. These next two slides will show the ratio between the structure and the land value of components and the total market value. So 100 Park and Century Square have a total market value of over $41 million. And Calvary Court has a total market value of over $15 million. The majority of it is the cost of land and minimal land improvements. The Gorge and Calvary Court both spend most of their money with the improvements and not the land. Total market value for the Gorge is a little over $11 million. Total market value for Calvary Court is a little over $15 million. Since 100 Park was the only business that's been open for more than a year, we were able to come to some numbers with the rent and occupancy rate. Occupancy rate was at 86%, vacancy at 14%, bringing in a gross monthly rate of over $300,000. Other streams of revenue include the Gorge, Calvary Court, office space, and the controversial Peter Park, along with retail. The retail is not filled right now. It's expected to be full by 2018 and 2019. These four recent additions include Mess Waffles, Hemline, Share Tea, and Premier Incorporated. A development such as this obviously brings in a lot of jobs. 350 jobs were made during the construction, and the construction value is thought to be over $100 million. Along with 350 construction jobs, 15 plus permanent jobs, and multiple part-time jobs were also added. hand it off to Bailey.
We're going to take a look at the environmental value here that was added through the development of Century Square. About 4% of the site is dedicated to open and green space, equating to nearly 2 acres of activated public space. And this mainly includes the courtyard at Calvary Court, as well as the green at the Gorge Hotel. And while there's great environmental value, such as reducing the urban heat island effect, which we will cover in later slides, I think what's most important about this open space is it truly provides an opportunity for visitors to gather, socialize, make memorable experiences, which leads to that enduring value and keeps people wanting to come back. There's a heavy use, there's a large focus in the landscaping and plant material that is used throughout the site. This is aesthetically appealing, as well as helps absorb some of the water runoff and absorb some of that air pollution. There were dozens of large oak trees that were saved through the construction of the site. I think that this was really important in helping establish that identity that many Aggies can truly identify with. As I'm sure y'all are aware, there's the century tree on campus and a very prevalent use of oak trees on campus, and I think that this does the conservation of these trees is truly something that Aggies can identify with. When we talk about the air quality impact, we mainly want to focus on reducing CO2 emissions as well as reducing the urban heat island effect. The urban heat island effect occurs when once permeable surfaces become more impermeable through the built environment. These surfaces can no longer absorb the sun's heat, which creates higher temperatures around this urban area, creating a heat island effect. So the use of these trees that were discussed earlier and vegetation, this is going to provide shade and reduce surrounding air temperature. It's also going to allow for the removal of air pollutants. A study done by the EPA showed that a fully mature oak tree can absorb up to 48 pounds of CO2 a year. They're also going to reduce stormwater runoff through absorption. The cool roofs or white roofs that are used on top of the buildings use a thermoplastic polyurethane membrane. This is going to reflect up to 80% of the sunlight, and this is going to reduce surrounding air temperatures, according to the EPA, up to 1.4 degrees Fahrenheit. So, truly is, keeping surrounding temperatures cooler. Most importantly, the improved walkability of the campus. I thought this was, very important for the site, and as Jonathan Bringston mentioned, it really does provide an opportunity for visitors to check in on a Friday afternoon and really not have to get back into their cars until they check out on a Sunday. They can, the hotels are right there, the food is right there, and the walking distance is close to campus, close to game day. This is going to reduce CO2 emissions, improve traffic flow, things like that. Some of the energy conservation practices, we mentioned the cool roofs. The EPA noted that these can reduce energy costs up to 50 cents per square feet per year. So the average cost I found was between $2.50 per square feet and $3.75. So I truly think that this will keep the interior climate cooler, as well as save energy costs and eventually pay for itself. The LG Multi-V HVAC system that's used at Calvary Court meets the LEED building certification and is incredibly efficient for the type of structure that is used there. Water and stormwater management. As we mentioned earlier, there's obviously a large the development created a large amount of impermeable surfaces. This is going to increase stormwater runoff. So it's important that these effects were noted. And so the slope is characterized as gentle. Depending on where you're standing on the site, it's more than likely going to flow towards the north side area. And I counted 10 sewer grates behind Calvary Court, and this, to me, just from my observation, seems to be more than a normal parking lot. So I would imagine that the stormwater management is going to be able to be drained quicker here. Also, something that I was very fascinated with were the rain chains that were used in front of the Gorge Hotel. This is going to control the drip of the water that would be collected on that awning. This is going to reduce the mildew buildup, as well as protect some of that reclaimed brick that's used outside of the Gorge Hotel. Also, the use of native plant species in the landscaping, the xeriscaping, is going to reduce the need for extensive irrigation and reduce water costs.
I'm Kyle. I'm going to be talking to you guys about the sensory factors of Century Square, and more specifically how the visitors react to the visual impacts, smells, touch, sounds, and tastes of the area. So sensory is definitely the most subjective of the functions that we've discussed. However, I think it's one of the most crucial, as it truly measures the visitor's response to the site and ultimately whether or not they would visit again. So for visual impact, there's a notable number of designers and architects that Midway chose for the project. I have some listed there. They use multiple iconic elements and water features throughout the site, such as pools at the Gorge, Calvary Court, and 100 Park, and then kind of central gathering spaces that we've discussed with large fountain areas to socialize. There's presently no adjacent streetscape or property design enhancement. However, because the development's fairly new and not totally complete, I think once neighboring properties see the success of Century Square, that they'll want to up their design and kind of set a chain reaction off in College Station and hope that Century Square sets a standard. For smell, there's various smells throughout the site. Large areas of landscape improvements with flowering plants, 15 new food vendors that I'll discuss in a minute, and then some of the restaurants and areas even ventilates certain smells into their site, such as the canteen pumps a mesquite smell to kind of contribute to the rustic theme that they're going for. As far as negative aspects of smell, for trash, they strategically place the dumpsters inside a fenced area far away from highly trafficked pedestrian areas. And then it's also in close proximity to University Road, and it's a mile away from the railroad tracks, but that seems to pose very minimal problems. For touch, they used a various amount of textured pavements throughout the site, which allows for a differentiation between vehicular and pedestrian traffic. It's like here you can clearly tell where crosswalks are located. And these textured pavers also slow down vehicular traffic. The use of wide sidewalks, like in front of the storefronts here, help encourage pedestrian activity throughout the site, which is completely ADA compliant and hosts a large number of seating areas, both indoor and outdoor, shaded and non-shaded. For sound, various events can be held in areas such as the large central green space. They can hold concerts, games, workout classes, things of that nature. I know at Midway's development of City Center in Houston, they have an event scheduled for every day of the year, so there's always something going on. I think once this development is totally finished, they'll have something along these lines, where something will always be happening, always be hearing different things throughout the day. Each venue and restaurant also plays their own music, so as you're walking around, you'll hear different vibes, different musics, and some even offer live music on weekends. The Calvary Court, which is pictured here, and 100 Park also each have large pools and courtyards that can host corporate events, parties, things like that, which is happening in this picture. And again, similar negative effects is the close proximity to University and the railroad. The future development sites are extremely close to University, so those could be a really big factor with sound, but I think once those are built, it'll kind of block off a lot of the sound to the main parts of the development. For taste, there's 15 new food vendors, each of which new to College Station. They each vary in price. You can get a burger at Hot Dottie for lunch, or you can get a steak for dinner at Porter's, and they offer a lot to the area that's new to students or parents visiting. Just see how that'll get back to Elliot.
So to conclude our quadruple net value analysis, we determined that they did have a good design which had multiple levels of derived benefits, whether that be from the social benefits of encouraging communal gathering and creating lasting memories with whatever group you're with, or economic benefits, like Hunter showed us, such as not only the benefits on property, but beyond the property lines. There's also the sensory and environmental benefits that are often overlooked when you're just walking around, but when after conducting this analysis, you really realize how much has gone into the project. So a few recommendations that we would make: improved connections for pedestrians, what Alec was covering, as well as the transit stops. We just think if it was easier connection to both campus and North Point, you'd have more foot traffic, as well as the transit stops. If that was on site, maybe some people that were hesitant to visit because they have to pay for parking could get there without paying. And then a few other ones, some advertising to get word out on the different amenities and events, and then maybe consider renewable energies. So in summary, we presented Brazos County's first walkable mixed-use development. We then showed you a video. Hopefully you got the upbeat feel that is trying to be created out there. Then we did our quadruple net value analysis, followed up by a few recommendations. And that's our presentation. Thanks for the time and attention.